Perfect. So we have Sean here with WSPS. So I just want to welcome him on behalf of Launch It. We're really lucky to have so much experience in the safety industry to help our businesses. So Sean, I'll let you take it off from here.
All right, perfect. So good morning, everyone. So I am just going to share my screen here, and then we will get started. Bear with me one moment. Share. All right. And Caitlin, I'm just going to get a thumbs up from you that can be seen. Perfect. All right. So good morning, everyone. So today we're going to be talking about getting started with health and safety. Special thanks to the town of Minto and Launch It Minto for having us in today. It's a pleasure. So as a small business owner, safeguarding your business and people is essential to also protecting your bottom line. So this is the reason that we're in today is not only helping with keeping your workplace and your workers safe, but also how can we help that bottom line. Just as a side note today, with the materials that are going to be presented, you'll probably have some questions. Please write them down or put them in the chat, and we will have some time at the end to ensure that we do have a moment to answer some of those questions.
So before we begin, we remind you that everything included in this presentation is subject to copyright. This session is for information and awareness purposes and is as current as the information we know as of today. Now that that's out of the way, let's get started. So let me introduce Sean to you. Sean is a small business account representative with Workplace Safety and Prevention Services and has over 10 years of experience in the following sectors: manufacturing, agriculture, fishery, food processing, healthcare, retail, government, and service industries. He provides guidance on health and safety requirements to meet compliance and regulatory and organizational needs and aid in ensuring worker health and safety. Sean also worked in other jurisdictions, including British Columbia, Alberta, and Manitoba.
And thank you, Zoe, for that. And my co-host here is Zoe. Zoe Sutherland is also an account representative with our small business team at Workplace Safety Prevention Services and has over 25 years experience in the health and safety field. Zoe connects with various community organizations in Northeastern Ontario to share the many simple safety solutions that WSPS has to offer. Zoe's focus to provide small business owners with easy, accessible tools and resources to help them get started on their road to health and safety.
Thank you, Sean. Okay. Are we going to go through the agenda first, Sean, or do you just want me to jump on?
You can just jump in. I'm not,
okay.
There was a little bit of a technical issue.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so in case you haven't heard of us before, Workplace Safety and Prevention Services is a not-for-profit organization committed to protecting Ontario workers and businesses. We serve 171,000 member firms and 4.2 million workers in the agriculture, manufacturing, and service sectors. We offer health and safety expertise, consulting, training, and resources. Our mandate includes helping businesses understand their risk and legal obligations to stay in compliance and build safer workplaces. We are also a proud partner in Ontario's occupational health and safety system. This system is made up of different partners. Each partner has a unique role to play in implementing the occupational health and safety strategy. The Ministry of Labor, Immigration, Training, and Skills Development, yes, that is a long name, deals with the legislation, enforcement, and prevention side. Workplace Safety and Insurance Board, otherwise known as WSIB, they deal with the workers' compensation, prevention, and return to work supports. And then there's Workplace Safety and Prevention Services. We are one of 4 health and safety associations, and our focus is prevention of workplace injury and illness. We're here to provide guidance, information, and resources to businesses like yours so you can build a safer workplace. So challenges. The Act, the Occupational Health and Safety Act. WSPS is here to help you focus on the basic requirements for health and safety. We know that small businesses have been struggling these past few years with things like recovering from the pandemic, generating revenue, short staffing issues, demanding workloads, supply chain management issues, and the list just goes on. This is why it's important that health and safety needs to be part of your production process and part of the culture, as well as rooted into the process so that when things get really busy, health and safety doesn't get pushed aside. The Ministry of Labor, Immigration's Training, Skills, and Development enforces the Act and regulations. There are a lot of regulations out there, but WSPS is here to help you focus on the core requirements for health and safety while keeping things simple. If you are looking for a copy of the 2024 Occupational Health and Safety Act, we have them available to order at our website on WSPS.ca for $22 or download it for free from the Ministry of Labor website. We will pass this information on to Launchit Minto to share with the following the session today.
All right. Thank you so much, Zoe. So why is health and safety so important? So just to get an idea of how big of a concern this is in Ontario, if you look at the screen, you'll see BMO Field there in Toronto. Mind you, that is a little bit of an older photo of BMO Field. There's been some recent additions, but this arena has about a capacity of about 27,980 spectators. Now imagine 7 other arenas the same size. The seating capacity with 7 arenas represent the approximate number of workers experiencing approved WSIB-related claims to an injury or illness each year. So that's just the approved claims within the province. That's not even counting the number of actual incidents or other injuries, or some that are even going unreported each and every year in the province of Ontario. Thousands of workers are hurt or sick or are ill every year, but especially new and young workers are the most at risk of being injured or getting sick their first 30 days on the job. A lot of this is due to inexperience, a lack of training, or a lack of resources within the business to focus on occupational health and safety, which is where we come in. So when we are talking about the occupational health and safety system in Ontario, the foundation of it is the internal responsibility system. So what does this mean? Everybody inside of the Occupational Health and Safety Act has duties and responsibilities connected to their level of authority within an organization. So, for example, an employer provides a safe environment, establishes the health and safety program and policy, and is responsible for the health and safety within the organization. Supervisors communicate, monitor, and enforce programs and policies set out by the employer. Workers comply with, participate, and bring concerns to the attention of their supervisor or the company. You'll see a little note there on the side as well, where joint health and safeties and health and safety representatives come into play. They monitor the system and make recommendations to the employer and support communication between these 3 parties. The way that I like to give an example of this is any sports team that you've ever seen on TV or played yourself. Everybody, let's take again soccer for an example. Everybody on the field has duties and responsibilities connected to their position on the team. Defenders obviously play defense, the goalkeeper takes care of the ball not going into the net, and the strikers focus on offense. However, if all of the responsibilities of the team are left to just one position, the entire team will suffer, not just that person. It's the same thing with health and safety in the workplace. Depending on your position within the workplace, you have different duties and responsibilities that you are responsible for each day to ensure that everything is functioning properly within your organization. So underneath of the Occupational Health and Safety Act, workers also have 3 rights that they have in order to keep themselves and those around them safe each and every day. Those 3 rights are the right to know, the right to participate, and the right to refuse unsafe work. The right to know is that workers have the right to know about job-related hazards that are in the workplace, how these hazards could harm them, and how to control these hazards effectively. When you are bringing new people on board within your organization, it's important to make them aware of things that could be dangerous to their health and safety. One thing that you need to understand is, although you may have been involved in the business for years at this point, someone coming brand new into your organization may not be as knowledgeable about your sector or what you do each and every day. Never assume that they just will know something, but rather make sure they do through effective training. Workers also have the right to participate. This means that they have the right to be a part of the process of recognizing, assessing, and controlling hazards. Some ways that this practically looks like could be asking questions about job-related duties and responsibilities in the workplace, as well as providing you with suggestions of how to make the work safer and easier for the worker. They also have the right to be a part of the health and safety representative or joint health and safety team within the workplace. And each worker also has the right to refuse unsafe work. That worker can refuse work that they believe could put themselves or another worker in danger. And this defined procedure is that they must tell their employer, first of all, that they are refusing that work, but you as an employer are responsible to investigate and put practices into place to ensure the health and safety of the worker. All right, so now that we've talked a little bit about that, and kind of flowing underneath of the right to know, we talk about a hazard. What is a hazard? So a hazard is any source of potential damage, harm, or adverse health effect on something or someone. There are 6 different types of hazards in any workplace, and every workplace has hazards. There are physical, biological, MSD or musculoskeletal disorder hazards, psychosocial, safety, and chemical. When we talk about physical hazards, these are things like extreme temperature. So right now, extreme cold, especially affecting workers that are working outside. Extreme heat, if in the summertime you're working in some sort of a manufacturing facility that does not have temperature controls, or working outside in the hot sun, or inside of a greenhouse. Biological is living organisms that can cause illness or disease in humans. This includes plants, animals, viruses, bacteria, or mold. MSD-related injuries are any part of the musculoskeletal system. These are things like muscles, tendons, ligaments, nerves, and joints that can be injured due to the force or repetitive movements that are required to do a job or an improper workstation setup. Psychosocial hazards are activities that can affect the physical and mental and emotional well-being of a worker. This could be workplace harassment, stress, or violence. One of the things that we saw over the past several years is the psychological effects of the COVID-19 pandemic and how this affected our day-to-day lives. Safety hazards is anything that could cause loss or life within the injury or loss of life in the workplace. These are things like slips and trips, inappropriate machine guarding, equipment malfunctions, and so on. Chemical hazards are any toxic chemical that can cause bodily harm. Chemical hazards can come in many forms, such as gases, vapors, dust, and fumes. You would find these in things like ink cartridges, paint, bleach, disinfectant, or anything with a WHMIS type hazard label on it. So when it does come to preventing these injuries, it's great that we have learned, okay, these are hazards. You may have even be thinking, oh, well, I can even think of a couple within our organization, but what do I do about it? As the business owner, the Occupational Health and Safety Act requires you to know what hazards are in your workplace and to take appropriate measures to control those risks to your workers. Some businesses will have a very formal way to manage hazards, and others will be less formal. Regardless of your approach, everyone should be following a basic process, of which we at WSPS call the RACE model: recognize, assess, control, and then evaluate. The first step in this process is recognizing the hazards that your workers could be exposed to within the workplace. This could be done through a risk assessment, a worker reporting a workplace hazard, or even as you're just conducting your activities and you notice that something within your business could cause harm to one of your workers. The next level is to assess. This is where we assess the risk or the probability that someone will come in contact with the hazard and how severely they could be affected by it. Is this going to result in a minor injury, or could this be potentially life-threatening? Then, based off of that risk, we go into the controls, where we want to reduce the risk of injury or illness to a worker. This can be done through controlling the hazards using elimination, engineering, administrative, or PPE controls. This is also called the hierarchy of controls. We'll provide some in-depth resources at the end of today's session to Minto if you would like more information on that. And then finally, we want to evaluate, once we have put those controls in place, is ensuring that, number one, they're effectively controlling the hazard, but also, are the controls doing what we actually want them to do? And ensuring that we have not inadvertently introduced a new hazard into the workplace. All right, so that might seem like a lot. However, we're here to help small business owners reach their full potential with access to free advice and education to stay on track with your health and safety objectives. As you can see here, with what we've talked about, WSPS has a small business center that aids business owners just like yours on how to effectively implement health and safety programs, health and safety solutions, and where to find more help if you need it. As you can see in the top left corner there, our safety roadmap is where businesses can go to their specific size section to find basic health and safety requirements based on the size of your business. In the Understanding Health and Safety section, this is where businesses can find case studies, articles, and free resources so that you don't feel like you have to reinvent the wheel, creating policies, programs, forms, etc. Additional support section in the bottom left corner is where we list our small business advisory service and the WSIB Health and Safety Excellence Program, which we'll talk a little bit more near the end of our program today. And then also what's new. Over the past few years, there's been several new pieces of legislation that have come into the workplace, which now affect business owners across the province, such as the right to disconnect or naloxone. In this section, we cover these topics so you know what you're responsible for as a small business owner. As a small business owner, you have legal obligations when it comes to the health and safety of your workplace, but it's not just about the law. A comprehensive health and safety program will also ensure that your business continues to grow, you'll be able to retain talent, and you'll be able to reduce turnover within your organization. So inside of that health and safety roadmap, you can select the roadmap that best fits your needs. So we have it set up in the different sections of the legislation where things start to change. So we have those micro-sized businesses from 1 to 5 employees, 6 to 19 employees, where we start to get into some different legislation, and then again, 20 to 49 employees, where again, the legislation changes for business owners. You can click on the area of small businesses that best applies to you, and then you can find, again, those resources to help you control hazards, mitigate risk within your workplace, and ensure compliance each and every day. So when you do click on that health and safety roadmap, we have set it up that number one, you have a checklist and it goes through different areas that ensures that health and safety does not have to be complicated. Regardless of the roadmap that you choose, the first step will always be to identify your gaps. The health and safety checklist is a great place to start that will help you identify gaps within your health and safety program. This will cover all of the basic areas of the Occupational Health and Safety Act that we have covered today and will continue to cover during the remainder of our session. For example, we have checklists on what do I need to post within my workplace if I have 1 to 5 employees, 6 to 19 employees, and over 20 to 49 employees. Depending on your business and depending on how many employees you have, there might be different requirements under the Occupational Health and Safety Act. And again, safety doesn't have to be complicated, so we've tried to make it as easy for you to understand as a small business owner. We also have downloads so that you don't feel like you have to reinvent the wheel. We have a health and safety employee handbook. The purpose of this tool is to help you quickly produce an employee health and safety handbook that adds value to your orientation training and making sure that you don't have gaps within your workplace. The employee orientation training checklist is templates for managing the orientation and training of new workers and encourages employers to reproduce or customize this document or template to meet your specific health and safety requirements. This will also help you to show within your business that you are doing everything reasonable to protect your workers each and every day, which is something the ministry will look for. There's a saying in health and safety, if it's not documented, it never happened. And one of the things that the ministry will actively look for is, do you have a document to prove to me what you are saying? We understand that as a small business owner, you probably don't have enough hours in the day. And so we have an entire database of free downloads available to you to help you control hazards and ensure effective training within your workplace. And so
All right, so thanks. Sorry, thank you, Sean. All right, so in parts of posting, be prepared for an emergency by having emergency contacts posted on your health and safety bulletin board. And here are some of the numbers you should consider having on the list, such as fire, police, ambulance, utility, in case someone cuts a gas line or a power outage, poison control, Ministry of Labor, Ministry of Environment, and you can even add on more, such as supervisors, you know, anybody within the office. Okay. And then to make sure workers know their rights, most workplaces in Ontario must put up posters and other information. The law specifies certain minimum information that you must post in the workplace. Things like a health and safety policy, name of the health and safety representative, or if you're more than 19 employees, you have a joint health and safety committee member. They would also post alongside with the monthly inspection reports by the worker rep or the Joint Health and Safety Committee. A copy of the Occupational Health and Safety Act, the Green Book, and Prevention Starts Here poster. This poster summarizes rights and duties of the worker, employers, and supervisors, and has contact number for the Ministry of Labor, Immigration's Training and Skills Development. The Workplace Safety and Insurance Board, in case of injury poster. This tells you what your employer and you must do if there is an injury, if you are injured on the job. And of course, any orders given by the Ministry of Labor would need to be posted up here. We will provide an e-file link to launch it Minto at the end of today's session, and it would be provided to each of you. So what is also put up here is the Employment Standards Act poster. So all workplaces covered by the Employment Standards Act poster, by the Employment Standards Act, must distribute an Employment Standards Act poster to all employees within 30 days of their date of hire. Employers are no longer required to post this poster in the workplace. Every workplace is required to provide injured workers with first aid when they need it. Each shift must have a minimum of one certified first aid responder who works in the immediate vicinity of the first aid station. The role of the first aider is to provide immediate life-saving medical care before the arrival of further medical help. For more information on this, refer to Regulation 1101. And location of your health and safety bulletin board is key. Many workplaces have a health and safety board in a high traffic area where all workers pass by, such as the staff entrance, the lunchroom, locker room, common gathering area. Maybe that's where somewhere in the shop where all workers gather and hang out. If you can't install a bulletin board for any reason, then post information on a wall that employees can easily access. The important thing is to make information accessible to all employees. And remember, communication and training are an essential part of a health and safety program. So when you look at who needs to be trained, the short answer is everyone. As the employer, it's your responsibility to provide information and training to protect the health and safety of your employees and other people in the workplace. The training content will vary depending on the role of each person and to which hazards they may be exposed to. You look at new employees. Take the time to help new employees understand how important a safe and healthy workplace is to you and their roles and responsibilities. Mandatory worker health and safety worker training is one of the training that all workers should do. It's you can get it off the Ministry of Labor's website. It's for free, and you have to you just do the training, and you can even print a certificate and keep it on hand. Another is to consider is the young workers. They are eager to please their employers. There are far too many young workers that are getting injured on the first days or weeks of the job. In fact, new and young workers in Ontario are 3 times more likely to be injured during their first month on the job than in any other time. So don't take it for granted that they will always know the right questions to ask. Help them out. Consider language barrier. Have them shadow someone who sets a positive example. Praise them when you observe them following safe work procedures and correct them when they are not. Consider returning workers. They've been on extended leave, such as people on coming back from maternity leave, seasonal leave of absence for sick. You should always go over any key information, do an overview on changes that may have happened to the policies or process while they were away. Just getting back to work can be overwhelming for them. So it's just reminding and giving them that checkpoint on what they need to do. Supervisors, now they have additional duties and responsibilities in the workplace. You will need to ensure that they have time and knowledge to recognize the job hazards and how to enforce company policies and safe work expectations. Remember, as an employer, you are required to appoint a competent person into the supervisory role. And under the Occupational Health and Safety Act, a competent person means a person who is qualified because of knowledge, training, and experience to organize the work and its performance, is familiar with the Occupational Health and Safety Act and regulations that apply to the work, and has knowledge to any potential or actual danger to health and safety in the workplace. Another mandatory training that would be required for them is the supervisor's health and safety awareness training. Again, that's training can be taken off the website from the ministry, and it's a free training session, which also you can print out a certificate. It's also a good, these awareness trainings are also good to do as a refresher, because people can be on the job for a long period of time. They've taken the awareness mandatory training, but time goes by and there are things that you need to refresh your brain with. So that is very important to kind of just go through it. Don't forget about contractors, visitors, and suppliers that come into the workplace. Anyone who enters the premises for work-related activities should be held to the same standards as your employees. For example, your personal protective equipment policy or your violence and harassment policy should be extended to these individuals. Make it a point to ask them to sign in so you have a record of their visit and you know who's on site in the event of an emergency. It's good practice to provide information about your evacuation procedure and other policies at your sign-in portion of the when they come in. I'll reach you, Sean.
All right. So as Zoe mentioned, what information should be included in your trainings? Two of the trainings that she mentioned, which we'll provide a link to the town of Minto and launch at Minto for, is the 4-step and 5-step awareness training. This is something that came into effect in Ontario, that all workers must receive basic occupational health and safety awareness training. And supervisors have additional duties, as Zoe mentioned, and have a little bit more to learn when it comes to health and safety. Again, both of these can be provided to you at the end of today's session. One thing I want to highlight, though, with this is even though your workers may have gone through your the awareness program set out by the province of Ontario and your supervisors and workers still need to be trained on specific job procedures within your workplace, and also the specific hazards that they may come in contact with within your business. So just keep that in mind as well. Other areas of mandatory training throughout the province are WHMIS 2015. Every worker in the province of Ontario must receive WHMIS training, and that expires yearly. So they do have to be refreshed on WHMIS every year. Other areas is your employees should be well-versed in your violence and harassment program and where emergency evacuation plan areas are, including if there was a violent situation in the workplace where they needed to take shelter. If your business does use personal protective equipment, you should train your employees on how to use the equipment, where to find it, how to take care of it, and how to report if it is defective. Other things that you should look at, as already mentioned, common job hazards and their controls.
Sean, you seem to be frozen, or is it just me?
Yeah, I was just going to say that because I thought maybe it was me.
Do you mind just carrying on, Zoe, for
Okay,
him? And how he
I will. I'm just going to pull up his information here. Okay, where did he leave off? Okay, he was talking about okay, so the common job hazards and controls, and then, oops, I lost everything. The slide, I don't have slide deck to present. Oops, wait a second. Okay, would I be able to carry on speaking to it without the slide deck? And then you will get the information?
Yeah, and I can share it if you don't mind
Yeah,
continuing.
yeah,
with the link,
absolutely.
And then I can make sure that I share that with all of the attendees.
Okay.
Oh, there he
No
is. He's
problem.
back.
Oh, okay.
Perfect. There he is.
Sorry, I'm not sure what happened there. All right, we'll go back into sharing. Can you see that or no? Nope. Okay.
Not yet.
What the heck is going on? Okay. Can you guys see that okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Wonderful. So as I mentioned before, there was a brief interruption there. We have an e-course that is available to health and safety representatives. If you have between 6 to 19 employees, you are required to have a health and safety representative. One of the things that helps as part of this team environment is to ensure that everybody in the workplace knows their duties and responsibilities. Having a health and safety rep that is well knowledgeable of the Act will provide you with invaluable resources and support in all things health and safety within your business. So as I mentioned, we do have this program right now. It is $25. However, when it is completed, you receive a $175 rebate to your business. This helps to ensure
Okay. So you get the $175 rebate back from the Ministry of Labor. What you would have to do is that you would be applying the registration. You would be filling up a document and sending it forward to them. They would be reimbursing you for the $25 course fee, as well as the $150 towards the employee taking the training. Okay, and then we'll go over to the next portion is the podcast. So we each month we will talk to you through simple steps that you will take and stay in compliance and make your workplace safer. We also take a look at current issues and health and safety news that affects the small business community. There are over 30 episodes recorded and ready to listen to, and some of the past episodes include violence and harassment prevention, de-escalation tips, tips on becoming a health and safety representative, Workplace Safety and Insurance Board's Health and Safety Excellence program, and the new double rebate incentive that are being offered. Our latest episodes, one of our latest episodes included your autumn safety checklist, preparing your workplace for seasonal changes as the cooler weather approaches. Our host talks about a safety checklist for small business owners. Plus, listeners will learn more about new licensing requirements for temporary help agencies in Ontario. They're available to listen to and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, including the apps on your screen. The next one is one of my favorites, which is the Small Business Advisory Service. I know Sean had mentioned it before when he was showing our health and safety, our small business center website. This is for small business with less than 20 employees. You would be matched with a health and safety expert who will help you improve your health and safety in your business using simple, easy solutions. These health and safety experts are our volunteers. We have a group of over 300 volunteers across province. They are passionate, educated, and very knowledgeable in health and safety, and they're here to help you. You would spend approximately 10 hours working with your advisor at a mutually convenient time. And you will receive a program handbook with practical tools and information that can be used as a resource for many years to come. It's a great service, and it will really help you with your health and safety journey. So if you're interested in more information about this, please reach out to us directly, and we can put you in touch. The next portion I would like to speak to is the Health and Safety Excellence Program. So this may seem overwhelming, but as we have reviewed, there are ways to get help you need to implement the health and safety system in your small business and get some rebates as well. The WSIB announces the Health and Safety Excellence Program is going to go even further to help smaller businesses in Ontario during 2024, with significantly increasing rebates and supports to invest in health and safety. We know Ontario businesses work to have the safest workplaces anywhere, but smaller businesses are still recovering from pandemic. In response to the WSIB's is stepping up and adding incentives to help get more businesses invested in the health and safety, in their health and safety right now. If you would like more information regarding the Health and Safety Excellence Program, and if you could benefit for your workplace, reach out to us following today's session. We would be happy to help you in this journey as well. Now, connect with us on our website at WSPS.ca, or follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And Sean, do you want to carry on since you're back?
I apologize. I'm not
No
sure
worries.
what is happening in the wonderful world of technology. Thank you so much for covering for me there, Zoe. That is a lot of information that we have provided over the past about 35 minutes. So I don't see anything in the chat, but for those that are in the room, does anyone have any questions surrounding what we've talked about today, or health and safety related questions about your business?
I just wanted to make a note just for the businesses. I know you touched briefly on the WSIB rebate program, but it is a fantastic program. It really helps you. It takes a little bit of work. It helps you work through and create the processes, and then you get some pretty significant rebates for your business. So it's financially worth it, and at the same time, you're creating that health and safety program for your business. So I highly recommend it, and recommend reaching out to WSPS to do so.
Yeah, and just kind of tagging on to that, with the WSIB Excellence Program, you can receive up to 100% of your WSIB premiums back that you paid in previous years. So a lot of the subjects that they cover in the Excellence Program, you have to do anyway by law. So I always tell people you might as well get paid for doing it. There are a lot of incentives right now being provided by the WSIB this year, so I would highly recommend taking advantage of that. All right, but if nobody has any questions, I think that might conclude our time together.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. And like I said, I will be sharing off the links to everyone that's attending. So thank you so much, and everyone have a great rest of your day.
All right. Thank you so much,
Thank
and
you.
take care, everyone.